Okay, this is a continuation from area, the first part of the topic. You'll need your formula sheet, have your whole front page filled in, but this time the questions will be a little bit different because they're going to look like two shapes that are joined together. So start by drawing this, please. And you'll notice that there's no shape on your formula sheet that looks the same as this. It's two shapes that have been stuck together. So draw that and I'll give you some measurements to put next to it as well. From there, on that side, it's 15 centimetres. Across the bottom is 18 centimetres. And watch this last one. From the top all the way down to the bottom. So that whole distance there is 22 centimetres. All right? They are the numbers that you need to know. The first thing I want you to do is to work out which two shapes is that from your formula sheet. So you've got a big list. Make sure you've got this sheet in front of you. You've got a big list all the way down the side. Pick which two of these shapes you can divide that into. I want you to draw a dotted line somewhere. Draw a dotted line somewhere across, it's a horizontal line, somewhere across that shape that will split it into two. Do it before me, please. Normal rules, stay ahead of the black. Draw the dotted line before I do. If you've put your dotted line across here, that is correct. And you've now created two shapes that you can find on your formula sheet. You've got a triangle and you've got a rectangle. I want you to number them. Number them shape 1 and shape 2. Now, you need to pause the video so you can do it before me. What I want you to do over here is draw shape 1 and shape 2. Draw them separately and label all their, draw the shapes, then I'll just get you to write the formula of each shape underneath. Do that now, please. Okay, now you've got your two shapes and the formulas underneath. What I would like you to do, pause the video again. For this shape, you need to know what the base and the height is. I want you to write down the dimensions based on what you know from over here. For this shape, you need to know what the length and the width is. I want you to write down what the length and the width is based on the information that you've got here. I'm going to give you one clue. The height of the triangle is not 22, okay? 22 is from here all the way down to the bottom. You have to work out what the height of just that part there is, the triangle. Go. Okay. You have an 18 across the bottom of the triangle because that distance there is the same as the 18 across the bottom. 7 is the height of the triangle. It's 22 centimetres from here all the way down to the bottom, okay? From here to here, that's 15 centimetres. It tells us here. From here to here is 15. So the rest of it must be 7. That's where that number came from. Over here, 18 and 15. Okay, pause it again. Now I want you to swap the letters in this formula for the relevant numbers. So we know that that one there is the base and that number there is the height. Over here, the longer side is usually the one that we call the length and the other side is what we call the width. Press pause, swap the letters in the formula for the appropriate numbers. Your page should now look like this. We've swapped the letters for the numbers. Full working out. Put a times in between each one because that's what it means when the two letters are touching. Again, press pause, get your calculator, type those equations in and write the answers underneath. These are the answers that you should have come up with. Do not forget to put units on your answer. So it says centimetres here, but remember whenever we are talking about area, there needs to be a little 2 or a squared on your answers all the time. So here are our answers. We've finished finding the area of shape 1 and shape 2. That's not our final answer though. There is one more step. If you look back at the blue diagram, these two shapes have been stuck together. That means you need to then put your answers together. See if you can work out what I mean by that. Put your two answers together and that will be your final answer. It's one step on the calculator. Write down your answer, then you finish this question. Once you've typed it in, you should have been given an answer of 333 centimetres squared. That is the correct final answer. More importantly, I always want you to write down this step. So whatever you just type in the calculator, that answer plus that answer, I want you to always write down that step. It gives you extra marks for your working out. But if you can get to there, that's the correct answer. All right, I'll wipe the board clean, draw a new shape up. We'll try another one. Okay, here's our next shape. Again, there is nothing on our formula sheet that is the exact same shape as this, but we can put a dotted line somewhere and turn it into two more familiar looking shapes. This one's a bit trickier because the top shape, if you like, is a little bit different to one of the shapes from our formula sheet. Draw your dotted line where you think it goes. Have a go before me. If you put the dotted line there, you are correct. Now, we'll call the top one shape 1 and the bottom one shape 2. Now shape 1, it's not quite a circle. We can use the circle formula, but we have to change it a little bit. If you added down the bottom of your page the formula for a semicircle, that's exactly what this shape is here. So, over here, draw shape 1, draw shape 2, write the formulas underneath. Go. Here are our two shapes, there are the formulas underneath. Notice I've used the normal the normal circle formula, but because it's half a circle, I've halved my formula. This is how you'll find the area for a semicircle. Next thing, put the correct dimensions on the shape. So here we need to know R, that's the radius of the semicircle. There's no number here in a semicircle, but use the other information to help you. Remember, radius means halfway across the circle. Okay, a little bit of a clue. Radius is halfway across the circle. Over here, length and width. Go. These are the numbers that you should have put down. So this here is 10 centimetres all the way across, but we don't want all the way across. We want halfway across. That's where this number 5 came from. And the 10 and 14 are simply the rectangle's dimensions. Okay, pause it again. Swap the letters in your formulas for the relevant numbers. Go. This is what your two formulas should look like now. It is now up to the calculator to do the rest of the work for you. Punch both of these in the calculator, you'll get an answer. One little tip. When we get to our very, very final answer, we'll have 2 decimal places. For now, I'd like you to keep this one to 4 decimal places. It just gives us a more accurate answer while we're working out. So 4 decimal places while you're working out here, and that one you won't have any. If you've forgotten how to round off and how to work with decimal places, just do a quick YouTube search, find a video that explains how to do rounding off. That'll help you out. Go. These are the 2 answers that you should have come to. There are 4 decimal places. We'll do some more rounding off later on at the end. Now, we've finished with the area of shape 1. Finished, I should have labelled them, with the area of shape 2. Very last step, look at the picture. This has shape 1 and shape 2 stuck together. You need to do the same thing. Your answer for shape 1, your answer for shape 2, put them together. Go. Here is our final answer. If you ended up with 179.27 centimetres squared, don't forget to put that on the end of your answer, then you are correct. That's your final answer. All right, I'll wipe the board. We'll do one last question. Okay, here's our last shape. It looks a little bit different. Imagine this is a big blue sheet of cardboard and you've cut a circle out of the middle. So this question is asking you what's the area of just the blue cardboard part. So it's saying I don't want this area in the middle because it's been cut out. So your steps are going to be nearly exactly the same all the way down. It will only change at the very, very end. We still need to do all the same things. Separate into shape 1 and shape 2. Draw the shapes over here and write the formulas underneath. Do all those steps now. Go. Okay, we should be somewhere around this step here. Now, next step, you've got the dimensions here. If you haven't already, put the dimensions on now and swap the letters in your formula for the relevant numbers. Go. Your letters have been swapped for numbers because this was the length, that was the width, and that was the radius. Next step is all up to the calculator. Type these 2 equations in your calculator, write the answers underneath. Go. Here are our 2 answers. Again, I've kept some extra decimal points there. You'll realise why as the questions get a bit trickier in your book, but it's always going to give you a more accurate answer. Here are our 2 answers. Now this is where it gets a little bit different. Here, I have not stuck 2 shapes together. Instead, I had one shape and I took a piece away, or I took a piece out of the shape. So the final clue I'll give you is you are not going to add these two answers together. Have a think what you could do instead, because you only want to know the area of this coloured in blue cardboard. You don't want this area. See if you can work out what the last step is. Pause it, have a go, see if yours is the same as mine. Here is your final answer. The difference here was you had to take away the piece that you didn't want. So this was our big piece that we did want. There was a piece cut out, so we take that piece away. The easy way to remember it is, when it's two shapes stuck together, you add the answers. When it's one shape cut out from the other, you take away the answers. All right, use this information, you can work through the questions.